Are you ready for an amazing trend trading strategy? And I'll show you exactly how to find the best trades. Then make sure to watch until the end. And sorry, I've been a little bit quiet over the last 2 weeks. We just bought a new house here in Thailand and there's been a lot of renovation and construction going on, but I will be back to regular videos very shortly. But for now, let's talk about a trend following approach. And what can we see here? Overall, the price is in an overall downtrend. We have our highest high point here in the market. So here it seems like the previous uptrend topped out, very important. And here we have the ultimate high. And the market afterwards broke into a new low. So after the market broke this area, we are making lower lows. And now we are looking for trend continuation plays. And for a trend continuation play, what you want to have is you want to enter on a pullback or in a consolidation phase. And for that, it's very important to note, first of all, is the market making lower highs? And as long as the market is staying below the previous high, you are in an overall downtrend. You could also use a higher time frame moving average. For example, you can see that here. This is the 4-hour time frame 50 period moving average. And the market is then after the break here, it is below it. So it's in a downtrend. We are here below the lowest high or behind the highest high actually. So we are making lower highs after that. So very important point here in this price development. And then we are looking for a consolidation phase, which we have here. So we don't want to jump on a moving train. You can see that is what many amateurs do, is that they just try to catch a falling knife or they just chase the price actually. And that is generally not a good idea. What you are better off doing is wait for the train to slow down, so to speak, and then jump on it. And you can see the market always moves in those up and down waves. The market never just moves in one straight line, but there's always this up and down and up and down and up and down. And what you want to do is you want to master those correction phases, because there is where you have the best entry opportunities. And we can define very nicely one area here. You can see the market is entering a channel or whatever you want to call that. Here it topped or bottomed out, and afterwards it made very shallow higher lows. Here we have a double bottom. Here it made a high, and then afterwards it made a lower high. So we can very nicely see that we are obviously, or the price rather, not we, the price is very far away from the last highest high point, which is important. So the price is not even coming close to the previous high. So we are always still in a downtrend. And we want to now wait until the market is breaking out of such a consolidation phase. The breakout is very important, otherwise we will just get caught up in trading those nasty sideways ranges. And there's absolutely no money to be made here. So we want to make sure that we are always waiting for a breakout out of those ranges. The breakout happens here when the market is making lower lows once again. So we always want to make sure that we are breaking out of something like that. Never trade within it. Always wait for the market to confirm the original trend direction, which is down. And a downtrend is made up of lower highs and lower lows. So as soon as the market breaks into a new lower low, that's where we want to trade. So let's see, and let's speed this up, and you can see, okay, what happens afterwards. Whoops, there was a very violent breakout. That's what often happens. The market follows into the new trend direction, and then you can see the new trend unfolds. And that is where you generally have the best trading opportunities. Not inside of those ranges, there's not a lot of movement, but as soon as the market really breaks out, that is really where all of the trend following traders jump in. Everybody who was betting on an uptrend, where do they have their stop loss underneath that? So it's also setting off a cascade of stop triggers here, and a bunch of things come together. So look for a big trend, look for the big general trend direction, wait for the consolidation to form. Don't worry about missing out parts if you didn't catch the initial move or the initial breakout. It's totally fine. Wait for the consolidation. You could even add the trend rider for that, and this is my indicator that I made. The link to that is in the description below, and you can see that here after the market has broken out, first of all the background color is changing red, and then also the momentum study here at the bottom is changing red. So you can see here is where the trend rider changed red for the first time on the histogram. And afterwards it gave you a very nice confirmation to stay in the trade as long as the background color is still red. And the link again in the description below for that. So now we're looking at a potential uptrend. The market came from a downtrend here, bottomed out, and then started making higher highs and higher lows. And again, we want to wait for the first real consolidation. So when the market is, or when the trend is pausing and not pushing higher, we could again look at our moving average. You can see here's where the price broke above it, started the uptrend. And after that, we want to look for confirmation trades into the direction of the higher time frame moving average. And we have our first consolidation here. We can very nicely see that the market has been struggling after putting in this high. We have here kind of a, whatever you want to call it, maybe a wedge, maybe just a channel, doesn't matter. But what does it tell us? It tells us that the initial uptrend wave is slowing down. There's not a lot of buying interest right now. Probably a lot of people who got into this trade here are now taking profits. So that is why it's slowing down. And so the market is always going in those waves. That's very, very important to understand. And we want to make sure that we then find those correction phases and then time our trades into the overall bigger picture trend direction. So we want to make sure that we're waiting for a breakout. You can see you probably want to wait for a breakout here above the last major swing high, which is also a very important resistance area here. So let's speed it up and see what happens. You can see the market broke out here. So this is where generally you would start looking for an entry. If we consult the trend rider, you can see the trend rider momentum study did turn green here on this candle already, but it's always better to wait for the confirmed breakout. And then you can see the background color of the trend rider is also green. So very nice confirmation, good way to trade with added confluence. And you can see then the market just ripped higher and the uptrend was continued and continued. And it all started with this breakout out of the range. So look for a trend that has been starting. Don't worry about missing maybe the first initial leg. That's totally fine. Don't get into FOMO. Don't try to start chasing around here. That's usually not good because the later you get into a trending phase, the more likely it is that the market then will just drift sideways, and then it becomes very challenging to hold on to such a trade or to manage such trades. Instead, wait for the first consolidation phase and then focus on trading breakouts. Now we can do that once again. The market came from an uptrend, topped out here, and after that the market was not able to make a higher high. Then you can see we have our first initial trend wave downwards. We have a very short-lived consolidation here, so not always will you be able to trade those consolidations. Sometimes they're just very short and you don't get an accurate read on it, but then afterwards you can see now we have a very decent longer term consolidation going on here. We can get in a perfect trend line here. We can also probably connect the highs. Not really that much, but we get something like a channel around here. And then what you want to make sure is, first of all, the market never came close to the previous high, which is a strong signal that there's not a lot of buying interest, because otherwise the buyers would have driven the price back up. But since there's a big distance between the previous major high and where the price is currently at, we can already see that the buyers are not really as strong in the market. Then we want to make sure that the price is breaking out of the channel, breaking out of the last swing low. So previously during this channel, the market started making higher highs and higher lows and higher lows and higher lows. So if we want to trade into a short trend, we want to make sure that the market is breaking a low, and then we make lower lows and we make lower highs here as well, lower high and lower high. So that is the definition of a downtrend, and we want to make sure that we are always obeying that. And you can see the market broke out of the channel here. Let's consult our trend rider. We do have a red background, but what is the momentum study doing? You can see here it turned red on the breakout, which is important. So great confluence here. And then you can see afterwards the market has a very easy time to move lower. And again, you can really nicely see how does the market move during range markets. Very, very slow, very, very erratic. But if the market, or when the market is continuing in the overall bigger picture trend direction, then you usually have big moves in a very short period of time. So that is really where the most of money can be made, the most amount of pips can be made in a short period of time. the market is just following through, and all of this accumulation and distribution that's been going on is then set up or set free here, and the market moves in a short period of time. And that's how you would then look for trend opportunities into the bigger picture with the consolidations, with correction waves. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, and I will be back shortly.